Hey everyone and welcome to my channel. This is Dave on Tech, and today we'll be taking a look at all the AirPods that you can still buy brand new in 2025 and comparing them. First we have the AirPods 2 released in 2019, the AirPods 3 from 2021, the AirPods 4 with ANC from 2024, the Pro 2s from 2022, and of course the AirPods Max from 2020 or 2024. So which pair of AirPods is still worth buying in 2025? Well, let's find out. Before we begin, I would like to mention that I don't have any specialized audio equipment that can objectively measure the sound quality of these headphones. But I've owned every single version of AirPods, even the original ones from 2016, so I do have an idea of how they sound and compare. First we have the AirPods 2, launched in March 2019 for $159 or $199 if you opted for the wireless charging case. They were a direct replacement for the original AirPods that were released in 2016 together with the iPhone 7 and the removal of the headphone jack. They have the H1 chip, the same chip as the most expensive AirPods in this list, the AirPods Max, which is honestly quite ridiculous, but that's a different discussion. The H1 chip is still quite fast when it comes to auto-switching devices, and these have a 5-hour battery life, or 24 if you include a case, and the sound is decent. Most people can get by with the sound of these. Well, that's unless you're an audiophile, but then you wouldn't get these anyway. The mids are fine, the highs are a bit tinny, but manageable. I would rate the sound of these at a 4 out of 10, I would say. These are your run-of-the-mill headphones, and if you've had these for a few years and you were considering an upgrade, maybe it's time for one. The AirPods 3, launched in late 2021 at $179, inherited the AirPods Pro design without the rubber tips and without noise cancellation. They also offer the best battery life out of all non-Pro AirPods, at 6 hours, or 30 hours if you also include the case. They also use the same old H1 chip as the previous generation of AirPods, and again, the Maxes. The sound is good, much better than the AirPods 2. Mids are comparable, but a bit more defined. The highs are much more accurate and clear. And finally, we have some bass. It's not bass like you'd get on the Pros or the Maxes, but at least it's a massive improvement over the AirPods 2. I would rate the sound of these at a 6 out of 10. The fit is a bit finicky. For example, I do find the AirPods 2 more comfortable than these, but it won't fall out of your ears or anything like that. Overall, these are a great pair of earbuds. AirPods 4 with ANC. These were launched in 2024 for $129 or $179 for the version with active noise cancelling and wireless charging. They finally have an upgraded chip, the H2, just like the AirPods Pro 2, and the sound has been improved even further. They are much closer sound-wise to the AirPods Pro 2 than they are to the AirPods 3, and I would rate the sound at a 7.5 out of 10. The only thing that I dislike about these is that the bass drops off massively if you increase the volume to over 60%, similar to a Bluetooth speaker. But still, even with that, the bass is still better than the AirPods 3, while the mids and highs also see a noticeable improvement. Battery is a bit disappointing on these, only lasting for 4 hours with ANC on or 20 hours if you include the case. It's even worse battery life than the AirPods 2, and you can tell. I've also had an issue with these and I had to replace them at an Apple store, about 2 weeks after purchasing them. The left earbud would discharge from full to like 10% in an hour, while the right earbud would still be at 60%. Let's talk about noise cancellation, and it's good. It's very good, given that these don't have rubber tips to seal against the ear. Although, it does take a good 3 seconds for the ANC to kick in, unlike the Pros and the Maxes that activate instantly. But once it's active, the ANC is quite good at removing constant sounds, like airplane noise or your AC unit. The noise cancellation isn't that good at removing sharp noises though, but that's to be expected. Transparency is also very good, even better than the Pros, But again, that's to be expected with an open-ear design. The AirPods Pro 2. These were released in 2022 for $249, then they were refreshed in 2023 with a USB-C case at the same price. I'll start off with sound, and it's a solid 9 out of 10. They offer a much improved soundstage compared to all previous AirPods, even the AirPods Pro first generation. Bass is exceptional, and it is kept under control very well without being overwhelming or slipping into the mids. Speaking of mids, they are also fantastic and well defined. Vocals are clear and warm, and the highs are also very accurate. And they of course have the newest H2 chip, making audio switching between Apple devices almost instantaneous. Battery is also very good, at about 6 hours with ANC on, or over 30 hours if you include the case, which is good. Again, this is purely subjective, but after testing a bunch of other earbuds, I always return to the Pros. They're my favorite, to be honest. And finally, we have the AirPods Max. Released back in 2020 and refreshed in 2024 with USB-C, and that being the only change, these are the only over-ear headphones, and of course they sound the best. Given that they have much larger drivers and can produce a more accurate soundstage and especially instrument separation. They are very well balanced, the bass is very good but not overpowering, while the mids are accurate and the highs are crisp. They sound a bit better than the AirPods Pro 2, and I would rate their sound at a solid 9.4 out of 10. Battery life is also solid. Apple rates these at 20 hours, but honestly, they have lasted me for over 25 hours in the first 3 years of use, and only recently have started lasting the advertised 20 or so hours, as the batteries have started aging. The only downside of these headphones and why I don't recommend them is the H1 chip, a 6-year-old chip in the most expensive top-of-the-line AirPods. Having an H1 chip instead of the H2 means that these don't have adaptive transparency, they don't have conversational awareness, and they aren't as fast when switching between audio sources. Oh, and I still use my AirPods Max from time to time to listen to my old iPods using Apple's very expensive $35 cable, but it's well worth it. So that's it. 5 pairs of AirPods to choose from. But which ones should we get really in 2025? Well, let's have a look. First we have the AirPods 2, and honestly, I would probably stay away from these. Maybe if you find them for say $50, maybe some Amazon leftover stock, sure, why not get them? Maybe for your kid or something, why not? But honestly, these are 6 years old now, I would stay away. Then we have the AirPods 3. These are still good, and they have the best battery life out of any non-Pro AirPods, so AirPods without rubber tips. So if you don't like rubber tips and you're looking for the best battery life, yeah, get these, sure. But again, only if you find them for less than, say, $100. I wouldn't pay more than that for them because these are like 4 years old now. Let's jump to the Maxes. These are very good headphones, don't get me wrong, but paying over $500 for a pair of headphones that have a 6-year-old chip inside of them and missing some of the features that the AirPods Pro 2 have, I would probably stay away. Again, if you find them on sale for $300, sure, why not? But paying full retail price, no. So it comes down to 2 options really. The AirPods Pro 2 and the AirPods 4 with ANC. But which ones should you get? Well, ask yourself one simple question. Do you mind having rubber tips instead of your ears? If you don't, get the Pro 2s. They offer the best overall experience. But if you're like myself and you don't really like having rubber tips on your headphones, get the AirPods 4 with ANC. They offer a very good experience. Not as good as the Pro 2, but very close, for cheaper, and honestly, they're very good. So these are the 2 options that you should consider really. None of these other 3. They're still good, but I would stick to these 2. Thank you for watching, and please consider subscribing if you found this video useful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care.